441. I'm performing an inspection on a 2006 Ford F-150 4.6 Triton V8. So just looking over the basic inspection, we have our upper coolant hose right here, and then our lower radiator hose through here, right there. Taking a look at the wires, I can see that I don't see any signs of chafing. They're a little bit dirty, but they don't look in too poor of a condition. I can still see the colors clearly on them. So the wires are good. And then looking at the condition of this upper radiator hose, I'm going to squeeze it to see the condition of the rubber. This is very, very hard. It's not going to be able to survive much longer. I would definitely recommend getting a new one because this coolant hose won't be able to withstand the hot, cold levels of the coolant. As well as this lower radiator hose, I'm going to do the same. That one is even worse, so I would definitely recommend replacing those. And then taking a look at the battery, I see that this is a standard battery that is supposed to be at 810 cold cranking amps at this temperature. Right now it's about 60 degrees outside. So I'm going to grab my battery tester right here, and I'm going to test the condition of it. When you hook up these terminals, you always want to hook up the red one first and the negative one last. That looks like a good connection to me. I'm going to go through here. I'm going to go to the battery test. We don't have a custom ID for this one. This is going to be an in-vehicle top post because the posts are on the top. Sometimes they'll be on the side. This is a 12 volt battery standard. This is for an automotive car, and this is a regular battery. It tells us the cold cranking amps, so I'm going to go with the cold cranking amps on here. And like I said, it's 810 at this temperature, so we're going to 810. This is 33 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. It's about 60 degrees outside. So it looks like it measured no cold cranking amps, which means this battery is dead. There's no saving it. They definitely need to get a new battery. I'm going to go ahead and print this. Doesn't look like it has enough ink. Whenever you're removing battery terminals, you want to do negative first, then positive after. So we're all done with that. The battery is in very poor condition. Next, we're going to look at the coolant using a refractometer. A refractometer, how you use this is you get a pipette. You grab a little bit of coolant, you put it on this blue thing right here. You close it, and then you look through to see whether or not the coolant's in a good condition. So I'm going to go over here. First, we got to make sure the engine's cold. I know this is cold, it hasn't run. Then we can safely open the coolant cap. I'm going to grab a little bit of coolant. Place it on the refractometer. Just like that. Close it. You see it has full, even coverage over the entire blue section. I'm going to place this down and I'm going to look through it. And this is in very, very poor condition. I'm reading a negative 10, or sorry, a 10 on the ethylene glycol, and it's telling me to replace this. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. I would definitely recommend replacing this coolant. From my previous experience, most Triton V8s have yellow coolant. This coolant is green, which is a sign of really bad wear. And that can happen because one, dirt and grime can get into the coolant system, and two, if you have a cast iron block and a cast aluminum head, which I believe this V8 has, then that difference in metal can cause a charge to accumulate in the coolant, which will eventually have it suck out the, which will eventually lead the coolant to fail. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to clean it using the cloth it gave me. You want to make sure you get this entirely clean, otherwise I won't be able to read again. Just looking through it to make sure it's all good. Yep, I don't see anything on it. Okay. So I can go ahead and put this back. Now I want to take a look at the brake fluid. Whenever you're taking an inspection on the brake fluid, you want to see how much copper it has from the brake lines, possibly degrading, and how much fluid is in there. Brake fluid is hygroscopic, meaning it loves water, it loves to absorb water. So I'm going to open up this brake cap. On the cap it says use .3 for this car. So I'm going to turn on the tester. It's already set on dot 3, but this one can go dot 4 and dot 5.1. So I'm going to set it on dot 3. I'm going to put it in there. Check to see where it's at. It's reading a 2.6 to 2.3 level, and that beeping indicates that we need to replace this brake fluid. So I would definitely also recommend getting a brake fluid flush. Let's go ahead and clean this so we can reuse it later. Here I have with me a shop rag just to clean it. I'm probably going to have to get brake fluid cleaner on this just to get that fully off, but for now I'm going to leave that there. Next we're going to want to check the engine oil level. Dipstick for this engine is going to be on this side. Right here, typically when you're looking for engine oil, you're looking for a yellow ring. I'll pull this out. That first reading that you get is almost never accurate, so I'm going to clean this off. And then I'm going to put it back in to get another reading. So there is no oil on this dipstick, which is terrible. That means this customer is either leaking oil or burning oil. Leaking oil can come from bad gaskets, PCV valves exploding, stuff like that, or burning oil, which is also bad because then that means that the cylinder rings may not be completely sealing. It may mean that there's a head gasket failure, stuff like that. And whenever oil is burning, you'll see a white smoke coming out of the exhaust typically. So we're definitely going to have to diagnose exactly why he has no oil, and then also give him another oil change. Taking a look at the transmission fluid, and this dipstick on this car will be over here. And again, with the engine oil, the first reading you get is never accurate, so you got to clean it and then put it back in. And there's also no transmission fluid on this dipstick. It is completely dry. But what you're typically looking for is a cherry red color on your transmission fluid. You're going to want to smell it. See if you can smell any burnt transmission fluid. If it's burnt, then that means that there's clutch plates in the automatic transmission that are slipping. You're looking for any friction material in the fluid, which also means that the clutches are typically worn and you want to get a new transmission. And you want to look for the condition and level. Low transmission fluid can lead to a whole slew of problems, such as solenoids not working or your transmission running out way quicker than it should. Last thing I want to take a look at is going to be the power steering fluid. This one is located right here. So taking a look in there, this power steering fluid looks completely black, which is a terrible sign because power steering fluid is supposed to be a transparent, almost water-like, with a small yellow hue on it, and this is black. Typically, having bad power steering fluid won't mean much for the driver. It will just wear out the pump faster, and it will wear out the rubber hoses that connect it faster. Another thing I want to look at is the serpentine belt. So right here with me, I have a serpentine belt gauge. These teeth are going to go inside of the serpentine belt, and whether or not it can go all the way in will tell me the condition of the serpentine belt gauge. So we won't be able to capture this entirely on camera, but if you look through right there, let me grab a flashlight. You see on the water pump, you can see the outside, the ridges of the serpentine belt. So I'm gonna put this tool in there to see whether or not, and most of this you got to do by feel. Most of this you got to do by feel because sometimes you won't be able to fully see what's going on in there. But if I get the tool in there, I can feel that it catches on the teeth perfectly fine, and that there's no issues in terms of the tread depth. However, performing a visual inspection on this tells me that this belt more than likely needs to be replaced. Looking at the condition of it, I see signs of glazing, which can come from overheating or just overuse. So more than likely, every time this customer sets up their car, they're gonna have a squeaky belt that will go away after some time. And then also pressing down on it, I don't notice too much slack in the system, but it is a little bit more than I would like. So if this customer is willing, I would like to get them to replace their serpentine belt tensioner, and that'll be all.